Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again today. Today I am bringing you my take on a sketch from the Facebook group For the Love of Pretty Paper. Now I've rotated this again because I've got photos that suit it, but it would be up that way. But I've decided to do it that way. This is a lovely Facebook group, very friendly, based mainly in the UK, but anyone from across the world can join in, of course. So that's the sketch I'm going to use today. Now I've got a multiple photo layout, making it a multiple photo layout with these little photos I've printed off from my recent retreat that I organised in Kent. And I had them all put onto pic collage, and then I've printed them out. So I've got 8 photographs. The sketch shows 6, but I'm using 8 because I've got all these people that I need to squeeze in, because I wanted to have a photograph of everybody that was on the retreat. I'm sure they're not all exactly trimmed to the right size. In fact, that one's bigger for a start. So I shall get my little trimmer and trim a little bit off there just to make it the right size. Didn't measure again. I never measure. I'm hopeless at measuring. Now look, I've made that still a little bit too big. So I shall just have to trim a little bit more off there. Poor Sandra's lost her ear. So these are just going to not be matted today. Not matting these today because if I put them on mats, there wouldn't be enough room. Luckily, one of the photos that was taken of me is rather out of focus because it was concentrating on Bronwyn in the front here. So that's very fortunate. You can see I'm smiling, that's the main thing. And I'm just going to layer these in here, just making sure that the rest are all the right length. Yep. And then I shall use one photo there of one friend because that's a solo one I've got of her, and it just gave me enough photos. So I shall stick those down. Bear with me while I do that. I think when I'm trying to line things up like this, I quite often like to have a wet glue. And in this instance, I am using a pin flare glue. It's my go-to wet glue. Just so that I've got a bit of wriggle room. This is a very simple sketch actually that the group came up with, which I'm delighted about, because I think when you've got so many photos, you don't need a lot of information assailing your senses. I have sadly just got a bit of glue on the front of that photograph, so fortunately it will wipe off with a wet wipe. That's it. Okay, now there is some printing there, so I'm going to have to be a bit clever with a bit of embellishing to cover that bit that says pic collage, because I don't buy the premium sketch, the premium pic collage where you don't get adverts on, so, and watermarks. So I'm going to just cover it up with an embellishment. That's what I usually do, and then I'll just space these out by eyeball again. That's it. I'm happy with that. And now on to the next lot. Now I'm also going to combine this sketch with, there's no prizes or anything, by the way, in this Facebook group. It's just for fun. They provide that to help us scrapbookers out the goodness of their hearts, which is brilliant. They're very, very kind like that. It's a bit wonky. Pull that one down a little bit more, and that one. We're done. Yeah, so there's these lovely sketches that somebody designs. I think it's Sarah Jane, who runs the Facebook group, designs them, and they're always really good, I think. She has actually used a stencil on it, and I probably should have done that before I started, but I was too excited to get carried away, to get stuck in and started. So there you are. That's as good as it's going to be. I've got them all lined up. Now I should have done a little bit of stenciling top and bottom, so I'm just going to do that now. This is the stencil I'm going to use, just because it's to hand and I didn't think to get one out beforehand. This is a Starburst stencil. I definitely should have done this before. So what I'm going to have to do is just cover that up. And you see here, she's got some starbursty bits coming out. So I'm just going to cover the photos and won't be a second. Get one of my ink blenders. I'm going to use a Distress Oxide in Festive Berries. Don't know why, just because I fancied it. Festive Berries. So I've got a little bit there, which is a deep reddy pinky colour. And I'm just going to pounce that on there like that so that I get some starburst effects. Being careful not to go over the edges so that I don't get that straight line. And similarly over here, protect the photos. Just using my ink blender just to get the bit of stencil going in there. I started to say I'm combining this this sketch with a challenge over on the Go Getaway Facebook group as well, and they've got a cyber crop weekend this weekend, and they are doing they're encouraging us to scrap using mixed collections, and so I'm pretty poor at that. So I've decided, as this is quite a plain sketch, as you can see, there's not much embellishment, and I didn't have room to cut it down because I had to get all of those photos in, so I didn't have room to cut it down. So I'm going to draw a border round afterwards, because if I'd cut it down I wouldn't have got my photographs on, because I needed the whole 12-inch width to get those 8 photos in. And now I'm just going to embellish, but I'm going to embellish using different collections because, as I say, I don't usually do that. And because this is a scrapbooking retreat weekend, I'm using some Simple Stories Let's Get Crafty, some Echo Park, what's this one called? Get Crafty, oh, Let's Create, and also another crafty one here called Craft and Create by Carter Bella. So I'm going to be using embellishments rather than papers from different collections, and I shall just sort of place them here and here, and perhaps a couple of other little bits. I've got to make sure I cover up this picture collage, this bit that says pic collage. So basically I'm just going to be using bits of card and paper to embellish. Now I have got to fussy cut a few little bits and pieces, but it will be very minimal, so I hope you can bear with me. I'm going to cut these scissors out just here because I want to put those over that bit that says pic collage. It's just the right size. I'll have to probably fussy cut the actual scissors, not just put a label over it, because it would look a bit odd if I just stuck that on there like that. So I'm going to have to just fussy cut those for a moment, so please bear with. I'll be as quick as I can. I'm usually quite speedy, but of course cutting circular bits is a bit tricky. I'm just not convinced that this will cover the pic collage. I might have to use something else, but that's what I had in my mind that I would use, a pair of scissors to cover it up. But there's lots of other stickers that I can put on anyway. And these little fussy cut scissors won't go to waste. I'm sure they'll get added somewhere, either on this layout or on a future layout. So yeah, it was a great weekend we had back in October 23, and we had a great weekend. There was 20 of us, lots of fun, and yeah, we had a funny evening on the Saturday night because England was playing in the, I'm not sure if it was the semi-finals or the quarter-finals because I don't actually follow rugby. Rugby World Cup quarter or semi-finals. I think it was semi-finals. I'm not absolutely certain. And with some of our ladies are South African, and obviously some are English. So that was really quite amusing because there was a lot of competition. but all friendly rivalry. It was actually really lovely to see the way everyone was getting on and having a great time. So yeah, that was a good evening. That was on the Saturday night of the retreat, and the hotel, fortunately, yeah, I think that would just about cover up that pic collage. That'll do there. I'll use my pin flare again to use that, so I've got a bit of wiggle room. That was good fun. And this was the hotel put the brought our dinner forward so that we could get to watch the rugby sooner. So that was quite good of them. Anyway, so that's a little pair of scissors from that collection. I don't think I need much else from here. I mean, there's some great titles here, Crafty and Happy, which would work very well, but I'd have to fussy cut them, and I don't think that's really going to work. So I think I've got a sticker somewhere that says "Let's get crafty." What does that say? Here you are. Let's get crafty. This is these are the Simple Stories Let's Get Crafty collection. And Let's Get Crafty is the title I'm going to go with, because we are all crafty ladies, all away for a nice crafty weekend, which was fantastic fun, really good. So here we go. Here's just pulling the back of this sticker off. Now, again, I don't really trust the glue on these things, so I'm just putting a bit of extra glue on. And that's the crafty bit. So let's put the Let's Get first. Peel the back off. Let's Get Crafty. This is more about embellishing than anything, I think, this layout. Oh, I can't get the back off. How irritating. It would also help if I didn't have the lid of my pin flare in my mouth so you could hear what I was saying. Right, well, the back's come off with that, so now I'm going to have to use the pin flare to adhere this one because it delaminated. Right, so we'll have Get here and Let's here. Let's Get. Let's Get, and then we'll put Crafty underneath. Let's Get Crafty. Yeah, see, now I wouldn't normally do that because those scissors they're not really the right colour. So I might actually take those off and not use those. I might come back to that later. I might put those on. I'll find something else. In the meantime, I'll wipe the pin flare off with the wet wipe. Again. There you go. That does clean off quite nicely off the front photograph. So we've got Let's Get Crafty. Now I've got to embellish. Now here's some better scissors. It's from the same collection, but I can, that's a better colourway. It was bugging me that it was totally the wrong colour. So I'm still going to put scissors here to cover this up. And that's going to go off the page. So what I'm going to do is trim off the edge of that embellishment because I want the pic collage words covered up. So I'm just going to trim off the edge. You'll still be able to see that it's a pair of scissors, of course, but it means that it's actually on the paper. So Let's Get Crafty. That's covered up that. What else have we got here? Eat, Sleep, Love, Craft. Now I could put this on here in this top area. Eat, Sleep, Love, Craft. And I think that would work quite nicely. And then I will make a little collection of bits and pieces here just to lay things over the top. And this is from the Craft and Create element sticker from Cartabella. Now that's Eat, Sleep, Love, Craft. It does annoy me when you get crafty things where it's got nearly everything is sewing related, because there's a lot more to craft than just sewing. So I might put this on here because we do use, well, I do use paintbrushes quite a lot for creating backgrounds and making that look you know, when you're doing a mixed media background or something like that. So I'm using my famous double-sided foam tape, and of course if I don't put a bit behind the thin bits on the top there, they will bend. So I'm going to have to stick, although it's a bit fiddly, I'm going to have to stick something on here like so, so that that is supported underneath. And I'll cut another little piece off here as well and put that on this one too, so that it's supported and it doesn't bend, because otherwise it's just going to bend, and then it will be laying flat on the paper, and the bottom piece will be laying fat and puffy on the paper. So that's a little collection. It started to get a little overlapping collection. I always find that if you're having a cluster of something, it's best to overlap things. Don't just put them on randomly side by side. So that's that collection. I've got a little bit here of this one. Being created is not a hobby, it's a way of life. This is a collection, to be honest with you, I can't remember the name of this one. Oh, yes I can. It is Echo Park. Get Crafty. I did say that earlier. Little strip there that I don't really need. Let's do that. I'm going to have to fussy cut something from one of these. I think this little camera here will be brilliant for a little additional embellishment from that collection. And again, bear with me while I just fussy cut this. It shouldn't take me a minute. It's not very big. This is really about embellishing rather than papers and things, because it's such a nice easy sketch, and very grateful for that, because I really want the photographs, as we all do, to be the focus of our page rather than the actual embellishing. So again, I think there I could tuck that under there, or I could tuck it under over this side, overlap that just a little bit. I prefer it there, I think, at an angle. I think putting it straight is not quite right, so I prefer it there at an angle. And I'm going to use the thinner, the 1mm thick foam tape for that, rather than the 2mm thick. You could ink the edges of these elements if you want to, but as it's just about embellishing, really, I shan't. Make sure that my friend's head isn't covered up. So we've got Let's Get Crafty from that collection, that and that from that collection. That's a different collection. And I've also got some little stickers from a Maggie Holmes. No, it's not Maggie Holmes, it's Jen Hadfield Breathe Deeply. That was a scrapbook kit that I bought from Crafts for Eternity. There's some nice stickers in here. There's some coffee mugs, which is very appropriate. There's a couple of flowers in the right colours, because I've got this sort of minty green colour and the pink as well. So I will be able to stick those on too, use those up. So I'm going to put the flower. Now these are puffy stickers that come from here. I don't think these are Jen Hadfield. I think these are Maggie Holmes. And this can go, not sure this will actually work now I've peeled it off, because it's quite large, and it's going to, oh, now hang on, that'll work there. And then I'll put something else around it. That's okay. And over this side, another little embellishment. And there's a couple of coffee cups. That would be good, because during the day we were drinking coffee, and in the evening on tea, and then in the evening, of course, we've moved on to the wine and things. And I think I'm going to use this just to underline the title that says Let's Get Crafty, because it's just about the right length. Let's Get Crafty. pop that down there like that underneath, and that's more or less me done. I think I will add some more of my favourite little things at the moment are these Vicky Boutin Where To Next. So it's a mixture of all sorts on this page, and I shall just put some pinks and some turquoisey stars there in 3 different places. I shall put those because apparently everything should be in 3s. I'll put the green next to that because there's green in that camera. And then this side I shall do a few more stars in the pinks and orange and teal and orange. And that is a very simple layout, but I've got all of my photos on a single page layout, and they are the focus of my page, and that's what I really wanted. We had such a good laugh with these girls, and can't wait for the next one, which is in May. I do 2 a year, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. So that's it. Thank you very much for popping by. I'm sorry if my head keeps popping in the way. I tried to set my table up differently this time so that my head's not in the way quite so much. I shall find out in a minute when I watch it on playback. Thanks for joining me, and see you again soon. Bye bye.